My name is Ian Schaefer, and my capstone project is the Lancia Giostra, the ultimate road-legal, AI-enabled rally experience. Before we jump into the future, let's glance back at the past. Lancia is the winningest name in rally racing, despite being inactive since 1992, having won 15 WRC titles. Like Ferrari in Formula One and Porsche in Le Mans, the spirit of competition runs strong in their legacy. The mindset taken on by their teams were not unlike that in medieval jousting. Face fear and push it to the limit with confidence and an unshaken mentality, hence the name Giostra, Carrera la Giostra, meaning to run a joust. There is no doubt that the automotive industry is shifting gears as we press onwards. The fact of the matter is that if the question is moving the average person from point A to point B, cars as we know them are not necessarily the answer. With ride-sharing, autonomy, and multimodal mobility, our roads stand to become safer, less congested, and faster. But what does that mean for the enthusiast market? That question is already starting to answer itself. If you look at manual take rates while paying attention to the trends for brands and models, a pattern becomes clear. Different enthusiast cars attract different enthusiasts. Despite dual clutch systems being faster to shift, buyers of cars such as the Subaru WRX and Porsche 911 still want a manual transmission as they desire more driver engagement in their experience. Therefore, the enthusiast market of the future will be split into experience genres, similar to motorcycles. At first kicking off with a musical movement on the front of multiple new genres, the cultural resurgence of the 1980s has made its way into movies and video games, and the aesthetic has become deeply revered by generations who never lived to experience it. On the automotive side of things, what is often cited as enthusiasts' love of their favorite cars from the decade is design purity, with an emphasis on volumes over details. In 2040, the enthusiast market will have departed from the mainstream transportation industry on philosophy, with the genre of enthusiasts seeking the thrill of pure designs that offer augmented analog experiences. Lancia's answer to this is to bring their rallying pedigree to the road by utilizing an AI co-driver, enabling drivers to safely push their limits. The Giostra's package is purpose-built and environmentally conscious. The car's monocoque is built from hemp fiber and recycled aluminum on-site in Turin, cutting down on the environmental impact of international shipping, thus greatly reducing its carbon footprint. It sports an efficient, dual-charged ethanol-powered i3 mated to a 6-speed four-wheel drive powertrain. Plus, since rally cars encounter a wide variety of surfaces, it also features surface-adaptive ride-height suspension. The AI co-driver plays a critical role in the Giostra. Think of it as working similar to R2-D2 hooked up to satellites in the autonomous network. The co-driver can see the road ahead that the driver can't and relays information to them by drawing it on the windshield while also communicating audibly with pace notes. It will also learn a driver's abilities, offer suggestions on improvement, and know when you've passed your limit. Only then will it take over to save you from a potential wreck. Sound is important when it comes to the enjoyment of driving and is arguably only second to the feel itself. Using pure data, a node-based audio programming software, it's possible to use audio voltages to draw on the X and Y axes of an oscilloscope like a vector graphics Etch-a-Sketch, fully embracing the asteroid's battle zone aesthetic. This was how I developed the design's initial gestures. There are 3 core design themes that guide the Giostra's design, taking inspiration from a knight's armor. A visored fascia to invoke a stoic expression, the concept of plating to suggest toughness alongside flexibility, and overall posture, using mechanical and flowing forms to express muscle around areas of movement. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The speed forms you just saw were created by interpreting initial pure sound wave profiles in Gravity Sketches sub D rendered here in Autodesk VRED. Before creating dozens of these forms, I composed the music you're hearing in the background to serve as a creative fuel. I then fed these speed forms back into the oscilloscope using Aussie Studio, a program that converts polygons into sound waves through a Blender plugin and used them as underlays to draw volume studies. Posture comes into play here with directional folds, a modified version of the look of 80s folded paper that blends surfaces in the direction of airflow. Moving into perspective, amplified function, an aspect of posture, comes into play where panels meet wheels, bending to generate muscle. The plating theme is relevant here as well, with gaps in the vehicle's armor forming aero channels. No Lancia is truly a Lancia without a powerful color palette. Punchy colors are mixed with desaturated elements to invoke the essence of vintage racing liveries. It was here that I began to experiment with details that I would then flesh out in CAD, such as part lines and louvers. It was my aim to disturb the form as little as possible with details to preserve the purity for my volume sketches. The side accent line was also reduced in width to offer a better balance of color. The geometry for this car was built almost entirely in Gravity Sketch's sub-D mode in VR, from the speed forms to the near final model. Once satisfied with the form, I brought the model into Blender to add the finishing touches and designed the wheels in Fusion 360. To ensure package feasibility, I also built out the car's monocoque, interior, and engine bay in low poly form within sub-D. Now for the extra fun stuff, rendering some final details. An element played up at the rear of the car is exhaust heat. Since turbo exhaust temperatures can get up to 1700 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to glow, the Giostra channels this emissive energy to visualize the limit. Furthermore, a hallmark of synthesizer music, arpeggiation makes its way into the design through the repetition present in louvers and vents. The wheels are designed to evoke classic rally steelies and further play up arpeggiation in the design. The frunk of the car plays a key role in the visor design theme, as the upper surface functions as a wing and covers the single-plane windshield that shrouds the lights, spare tire, and fuel cell. Here's an illustration of how the co-driver AI communicates. The road beyond the driver's vision is drawn so that they can visually anticipate what lies ahead through blind corners, as well as see any upcoming hazards, and where not to drive well in advance. This, on top of the co-driver making verbal calls, ensures that the driver doesn't miss a beat. Since the driver knows what lies ahead and has an AI to catch them if they slip up, in the Giostra, the back roads are a driver's playground. Designed to provide enthusiasts with an analog, on-the-limit rallying experience, the Lancia Giostra future-proofs the aspects of the past that drivers can't get enough of. Thank you.